In this episode, I'm going to go through the contents of my winter boating kit for rafting. For kayaking, it's a different set of gear. Kayaking, I need less stuff and I have less room. I have a bit more room for rafting and I need a few more things because rafts can get into a little bit more trouble requiring heavier duty stuff. So this is my kit and I haven't used it since last year. So I'm going to go through it for the first time to prepare for boating tomorrow. So if you have your own kit, you should go through it before you winter boat. But if you don't have a kit, this is the contents, this is stuff that I bring, and you can choose things you want to bring or not want to bring. So first of all, this is just some winter boating stuff in case we get out late, in case it gets cold or we stay out past dark. There's an emergency blanket in here, a headlamp. There's some little fire starter thingers in here. There's also this lighter thing that I want to make sure it works. It works. The headlamp, these Petzl headlamps are really cool. They're little emergency headlamps. But it's good to make sure the batteries are still good, that it's still working. It'd be a bummer to be out overnight or late and not have it work. So I'm just going to make sure it works. Yep, and it works, so that's good. And these little strikey things, these things strike and create a fire I have in here too. So those don't need to be tested. So that stuff's all good. Next is my first aid kit. I want to make sure that when I open it up, there's not just a bunch of things left over from the last time I used it. Sometimes if you use this on a trip, you forget to pack it, like go home and pack it. So sometimes there's like Band-Aid wrappers and things. So it looks good. I could go through every single thing, but I feel really good about it because I'm pretty careful with mine. But the one thing I'm going to check are the expiration dates of my meds. And when I put meds in first aid kits now, I use these little packages like this. They're really nice one-use packages. And the expiration date on that's still good. The aspirin, let's see, those ones are expired. So I got to replace the aspirin. And let's see if I have some Advil in here. The Advil is also expired, so I got to replace those. So my Benadryl is good, but my aspirin and my Advil need to get replaced, and I'll do that later. I could do a really good inspection of this, but I feel pretty good about it because I'm usually pretty responsible about everything. But just taking a quick look is a good idea. I put another headlamp in here. I've been caught out past dark enough times to be pretty cautious about it. So I have a couple headlamps. It doesn't hurt to have headlamps. These lights look a little dim, so I'm going to replace the batteries in these ones before I go out. So I have a few things to do with my first aid kit before I go out tomorrow. Next is sort of the rescue stuff. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure that I have my webbing, that it looks good, it's not moldy. My carabiners all open fine. Sometimes carabiners can get rusty or just kind of old. There's a good amount of duct tape, so I feel good about that. I'll go through all my other rescue stuff. Make sure everything looks good, that any pulley spins nice and free. Sometimes pulleys get rusted out or bad, so that pulley looks good. Let's see, what else do I have? More pulleys. I'm going to carry, this is a Petzl, I forget what it's called. This isn't a Tiblock, it's a something fancy that has teeth on it. And so this is sort of a fun little toy I've never used, but maybe someday I will. For like catboarding, I think that's something kind of nice to have. These are just regular pulleys, and I'll typically, here's 2 pulleys. I might have a third in here somewhere. Let's see if I do. Nope, in this kit I just have 2, which, oh no, here's a third one. Yep, so I have 3 pulleys, about 5 carabiners, more webbing. This webbing looks good. All the pulleys rotate, all the carabiners, make sure they move nice and the action works. Those actions all work well. I also carry a saw. I really like this Silky Super XL Z1 7.5. It's a great size in case you run into wood. More commonly than the river, I'm going to use this on the drive to put in. Like there's a log across the road and I can cut the log out and still go boating. But once in a while on the river, there's a log you want to get rid of for some reason. Or if somebody's trapped, this is a good thing to have in an emergency, especially for winter boating. What else do I have in here? The last thing is the toolkit. And before I get to the toolkit, I want to point out that I'm using the watershed bag. These are good, durable bags. I like the bright color. And inside the bag, I put the liner. So you can buy the liner separately. But I really like having the liner in here because it pads the bag from all this metal stuff. I've had bags get holes in them because carabiners hit the saw or something. So I like this padded bag that they make. So everything goes for me inside the padded bag inside the watershed. So this is my toolkit. For me, I have every tool I need for my boat and other people might need for their boats. So I do the best I can to have a wide variety of tools that can do a lot of things and an extra oar lock and just extra things we might need. So things I have in here, I have an extra oar lock. I usually run pins and clips in the winter, but I have an extra oar lock in case somebody else on a trip breaks theirs or loses theirs. This is a 8-in-1 tool. It's a Phillips screwdriver, a flathead. It has a nut driver as a part of it. You need a nut driver for pins and clips. So nice to have. You'll notice another flashlight. You get, like, I'm fanatical about these lights because, again, if you're ever caught out at night, a flashlight's nice to have. Terraid, make sure it hasn't been beat up too bad. And that this Terraid looks good. This is what I'm going to use to do my repairs in the field, especially in the winter. There's just no way you're going to get glue to set in the winter, so Terraid's the key here. Scissors to cut the Terraid, which are nice to have. Some channel, let's see, these are not channel locks. Vice grips, I like having vice grips with me. And what else do we have in here? I'm not running NRS frames, but this is a 1/2-inch socket for other people that have NRS frames for me to adjust their frames. A valve tool, which we would rarely use in the field, but it's so small, it's easy to carry. And these Knipex pliers, which are sort of like channel locks. This is just like a lightweight, simple version of a channel lock. And then I have a Leatherman, which I rarely use, but it's nice to have. You never know, it has a lot of cool tools. So that's what I'm bringing in the field tomorrow. Again, you can bring different things. Of course, you can follow this list if you want to. It's just what I found that's really useful. The big thing for me is, like, it was good to go through stuff, see that my battery was low on, or my flashlight was low on batteries. Some of my meds had expired, but it's really good to go through this because it's a bummer if you haven't gone through it in a few years or even a year and you go out boating and you need something in an emergency and it doesn't work, it's not there. It got used in your first aid kit and you open it up and you're like, oh, we used that last time and it didn't get replaced. So it's good to go through this, or a thing like a lighter like this. If it just didn't have butane and didn't light when you needed it, which over time, the butane does evaporate. I'll probably actually fill this up because I can, just to make sure. It actually, you can tell it's full there. So it's good to check that stuff. So that's it for this episode. As always, I learn a lot from these episodes. So if you have other things you bring, other ideas, different ways of packing, put those in the comments below so we have a discussion there. That's it for this episode. See you next time.